What is going on, beautiful people? It's your boy Blue. Welcome back to Baku, Azerbaijan. It's about 3 a.m. local time, and we are loading up for the 5th flight of the Moza Racing Formula 1 Logistics World Tour. We have another non-stop 14-hour ultra long-haul flight that takes us halfway around the planet to Miami for the Formula 1 Miami Grand Prix. This world tour is a huge challenge, but so far 70 of you have already signed up, and one of you will be winning a free Moza racing wheel at the end of the season. If you haven't heard about the giveaway, or you would like to join us, there is a link in the description that will take you to our F1 World Tour website that explains how to get started. So we got a long flight. Let's go. Go to route page, and we're going to Miami. We're going back to the States. I feel like I've traveled around the world. It's really nice to be able to finally head back to my home country. So back to Miami. I click that right there, activate there, and execute. And of course, we can't do our performance initialization until we have all of our cargo on board. But what we can do is set our cruise altitude. Again, we'll be doing step climbs in this flight, just like we did last time, but we'll start off at 32,000 feet, so flight level 320. I'm going to put that right there, and our cost index is also 320. So we'll drop that right there, and we'll wait to fill out the rest once we get everything loaded up and get our final numbers. So I'm going to go over here to departure and arrival now. So departure here on the top left, and we're expecting runway 17 for departure out of Baku. And our departure is going to be the Rasa to Charlie, which is right there, via transition Razam. And we have quite a lot of waypoints. So we'll go ahead and fill those out, and then we'll fill out our performance data. Alright, so I've gone through my flight plan and double checked it twice, 3 times. I stepped through the whole entire thing, making sure it's good. It's super, I cannot stress this enough. It is so important to get that flight plan right when you load up the FMS to start off with for these long flights, because you will regret it later on. Trust me, I have learned. Alright, so as you can see here, we're all totally fueled up with fuel. We should have plenty to get to where we gotta go, as well as we have cargo there too. So we are good on the cargo side. So we'll go ahead and tell those guys down there when they're ready, they can go ahead and close up. And what we're gonna do is continue over to our performance initialization page. You can see now we have our new, now we have a new 0 fuel weight and cruise CG. For reserves for this particular flight, we are expecting 18.2. That's 18,200 for our reserves. We'll lock that in right there. All right, over to the next page. We're gonna go skip to takeoff. All right, 10 in the flaps. Put that there. That gives us our V speeds of 155, 178, and 188. Man, I gotta get used to these long, these fast rotation speeds. Man, wow. All right, and let's shut all the doors by clicking here, and I'm just gonna click on these red boxes, and that will shut all of our doors, including the tail stand. We'll get rid of that as well. And while we wait for all the doors to shut, we will go ahead and prepare the aircraft for departure. So let's go ahead and get our APU started. So it's going to be turning that to the right hand side right there.
Tow connected and bypass been inserted. Release parking brake.
Brakes release, clear to push. Here we are holding short of the runway. We're actually going to be getting runway 35 for departure today. The weather is 320 at 20. It's clear. Temperature is 15, dew point 12, QNH 1013. We'll be using the Raza 1 Delta departure today. Departing off of runway 35, heading 344 after we lift off here. And then a left turn to 265 and continue on the SID to Razam at or above flight level 140. And after our departure from Baku, we're expecting about a flight time of 14 hours as we cross over the majority of Europe, the UK, Ireland, over the North Atlantic Ocean, and then over the east coast of the United States. We might get a peek at New York City on our way down to Florida. But yes, we'll be traveling halfway across the entire world. But we're all set and clear for takeoff. Here we go. Alright, auto throttle armed. Altitude set to 320, speed set 200 knots, and runway heading 353. Alright, running it up to 40%. All 4 engines stable, and somebody say toga. Airspeed is alive. Pushing the nose down. And 80 knots. Let's hold center line. We're gonna need all of this runway. There we go, there's 120. Come on. One 50 knots. Come on. There's V1. I need VR. Running out of runway. VR, rotate. There it is. Positive rate. You're up. Woohoo! We used all of that runway. Sheesh. Alright, let's point the nose down a little bit, add some flaps. We're gonna have to keep these flaps a little bit longer. We're just so heavy. I'm gonna need all the lift we can get here in the early stages. Get the speed stabilized here to about 2, 4, 5 knots, passing 3,000 or so. Nice shallow climb right now out of Baku. Nice, try that one more time. Autopilot on. LNAV, VNAV. Alright, we're climbing out of here, baby. Alright, here we are at 32,000 feet, our initial cruise altitude. Eventually, we're going to make our way up to 38,000 feet, but we're a little too fat and heavy. So we're going to have to burn off some of that fuel, lose a little weight before we can climb up to a higher cruise level. Currently, we're chasing the moon, heading westbound, expecting to see a sunrise soon, but it will be the absolute longest sunrise I have ever seen in my life because we're flying away from it. Currently, we have a headwind about 33 knots, and we're doing about 491 ground speed. The fuel is looking good so far, and we're estimated to land with about 60,000 pounds of fuel on board when we get to Miami. But everything in the cockpit is looking pretty good so far. There's not much to see out the windows. It's just dark. It's pretty quiet out here on the radio between 3 and 4 a.m. So we'll monitor our fuel, monitor our instruments, try to stay awake, and enjoy the sunrise when it gets here eventually. The sun is slowly rising behind us as we are cruising somewhere over the North Atlantic Ocean, headed westbound across the pond. Now that I think about it, this is actually my first time flying across the pond westbound, so this is new to me. And before we get into our race talk and talking about Formula One, I just want to say just how much I've actually really enjoyed this Formula One World Tour. This is only the 5th of 23 flights, and it's really challenged me. It's really stretched me. I've never been really big into flying long hauls. That's never been really a thing that I do. I'm more interested in doing the shorter flights where, you know, you're kind of able to take off and land, and you're doing a bit more in a shorter period of time instead of taking off, cruising for a ton of hours, and then landing and doing nothing in between. But it's been hard. I'm sure it's been challenging for you guys who've been flying along with me as well. You know, I've had sim issues. I've had my sim crash. I've had issues with my planes, or I need to update. There's so many things that can go wrong during these flights. Matter of fact, this is my 4th attempt of this current flight, so I'm hoping that we get there safely and without any issues. But when everything does run smoothly, it's so satisfying landing at our destination after so many hours. And I love getting to fly to places and even fly over places and fly routes that I never would really choose or pick myself. So it's definitely interesting. No flight is the same. They're all very different. And as you can see, we've been flying multiple different aircraft for these legs. And for these longer flights, the 747 has really been the most dependable. It has the farthest range, allowing us to do 14, 15-hour flights. And in X-Plane 12, it's been running extremely smoothly throughout these long hauls. So I don't want to jinx it, but I just gotta say that this 747 has been very dependable, but we'll be changing it up in the next flights to come. So let's talk racing. We just left the Baku, Azerbaijan Grand Prix. If you haven't watched the race, spoiler alert, Red Bull wins. That's probably going to be the headline all season long. But if a Red Bull has to win, I'm glad it was Perez, because between the two Red Bulls, Verstappen and Red Bull, my pick is Checo Perez. So there's kind of some competition there. There is something to root for as far as a championship fight. I don't think any other team is going to have a chance at winning the Drivers or the Constructors Championship. So you just kind of have to make a pick. So who do you pick? Who's your pick inside the Red Bull camp? Because I don't think anybody's able to stop them. Now, Ferrari was faster in qualifying, but when it came to race pace, Leclerc just didn't have it. I was rooting for Leclerc. I was really hoping that he could upset the Red Bull dominance this season, but just wasn't quite fast enough to do it. I did notice that Verstappen, you know, and this is not new, but he's been complaining a lot, especially when he was, you know, racing against George Russell, and he was complaining that George was racing him, you know, hard and wasn't worth it. And you know, if you think back to it, Verstappen himself has kind of always raced that way. He's always kind of put other drivers in sketchy situations, and that's basically what George did. He knew that he needed to get ahead of Verstappen, or he wasn't going to be able to pass him, and that's what he did. Verstappen eventually got back around him, but Russell just raced him hard. Now, he made a mistake, but I don't know. I thought it was a racing incident, and I think that Verstappen's just complaining, being a baby. But there were a lot of wrecks in Baku over the weekend. It was a completely different format with the sprint format. I kind of liked it at first, but then when it got to the race, I felt like all the sprint qualifying and sprint race before the actual big race kind of watered down the race itself and made the big race a little less exciting. Even though they started in a different positioning, it just, I don't know, like the sprint was actually pretty exciting. I'll admit, I actually really enjoyed watching the sprint itself. But then after the sprint was over, it was like, all right, well, now we know who's fast. Now we know what all the teams have. And we go into the big race, and even though they're starting in different positions, it's like, all right. So it's, I don't know. The race wasn't the most exciting race that we've had this season, but it was pretty good. It was a pretty good, like, actual respectful racing going on throughout the field between different drivers. Just nothing like, you know, crazy going on. And I was very happy to see McLaren finally get a top 10. Moving on to the Miami Grand Prix coming up. Obviously, super excited. The first U.S. Grand Prix of the season. And I'm just hoping for a good, exciting race. I think the last few Miami races we've had have been pretty interesting. And the fan turnout, I mean, they have been packed. They've been sold out. I mean, honestly, I think the hype around the race and even the entertainment before and after the race, during the race, has actually been even better than the actual on-track racing, if that makes any sense. So they've been doing a really good job of throwing a great event. A lot of celebrities showing up, a lot of great pre-show stuff happening. It's just really cool. It's really cool to see Formula One in the United States and being successful in the United States. So I'm looking forward to the race. And again, obviously hoping for somebody to get ahead of Red Bull and win. I mean, I don't even care who it is. If it's Alonso, Hamilton, Leclerc, George Russell, we just got to beat these Red Bulls. We got to get ahead. Here we are on final into Miami, runway 26 left. Man, we've come a long way, but look at that view. Look at that view. I mean, that's such a beautiful sight after so long being up here airborne, to finally see the city of Miami right out our front window. But we're looking pretty good. We got our landing lights already on. We've already got our localizer and glide slope all programmed. All the hard work has been done. Let's just land this plane. All right, gear down. All right, and Miami traffic, Silkway 116 heavy. 5 mile final on the ILS, 26 left, Miami. Wow, look at that view of downtown below us. Very nice weather out here in Miami today. We have a good visual on the runway, 26 left up ahead of us. There is an aircraft holding short of the runway. He's waiting for us.
Miami traffic, speeding 508, waiting for Silkway to land, and then line up runway 26 left, Miami.
Alright, Miami traffic, Silkway 116 heavy, short final runway 26 left. Autopilot is disconnected. My controls, let's land this plane.
Slow. 300.
All right, here we are. Let's catch the glide slope again. Might be a little bit of a long landing. We are a bit high. Here we come. There's that Spirit Airlines A320 down there. Continue here.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20. 10. 5.
A little low. Alright, here we are. Reverse is green. Might be a little bit of a long landing. We are a bit high. There we are, using all of the runway with this heavy Boeing 747. Ladies and gentlemen, woo, welcome to Miami. 14 hours later. We did it. We freaking did it. I'll tell you, for those of you who are watching this video, you know that feeling after finishing a long flight like this and getting there successfully. It's just crazy to think, you know, that in this same gaming session, you could say we were literally halfway on the other side of the planet. Again, the old dependable X-Plane 12 and the SSG 747. So we traveled a distance of 6,242 nautical miles. Our flight time was 13 hours and 48 minutes. And we touched down here in Miami with a landing rate of 255 after a bit of a float down the runway. But we made it down and we did it. I want to say thank you guys so much for watching. And if you do decide to join us or fly any of the legs in the Formula One World Tour, please take some screenshots and post them over on our Discord. I am planning to share some of those in future videos as well, to share some of you guys' experiences. And of course, you can always leave your feedback in the comments or hit me up on Discord. But until next time, remember you have 3 choices: give up, give in, and give it all you got. Peace, love, and God bless you. I'll catch you guys in the next flight to Italy.